What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Hawk Talk on Melrose. Yeah, we've been through this already. Tyler and I recorded an episode before, and it was like a 45, well, maybe like 50-minute long episode, and it got deleted. I don't know what exactly happened. I got done with it, and it vanished. So here we are again.
Technical difficulties, man.
Yep.
It's 2022. We gotta figure this shit out.
Yeah,
I know it. All
but
right.
We're gonna make this very short because we really do not feel like talking about the same thing for another 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, how have you been for a second time?
Recap it. Yeah. No, it's been good. I just quickly, obviously I wasn't at the game last week. I had a wedding, so for my own sanity and for the way that this offense has been going, it almost was refreshing not having to maybe see that. But obviously we looked pretty dang good. I mean, obviously we could only go up from where we started. Obviously I'm not mad about missing the game. Weather, not great in Iowa City last week. I caught your last podcast, go check that out if you guys haven't watched it yet. Collin recapped the Iowa Nevada game and talked about that awesome weather he experienced. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I made a good point. Doesn't rain all summer, and then here we are, football season, and it's raining every single weekend.
Yeah.
So the tailgate was fine. I mean, we had 5 hours of no rain, and actually the sun came out for a little bit, and then it was like the minute we started walking in the game, God was like, this offense is already challenged, so I'm going to try to make it even more of a challenge for them. And I'm just going to pour a dump, so much rain into Kinnick. And then the offense was so explosive, or not really so, but scored 14 points in the first quarter, and God was like, no, we need to end this. And so he brought lightning, because it was just such a shock to everybody how the offense, that's the worst in the country, can put up 14 points in the first quarter. So there you have it.
Not even when we actually start to get it figured out, will even weather allow us to continue to be great. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. One positive, though, it was good to see Nico back. It was good to see Keegan Johnson back. It does suck, however. KF's presser yesterday kind of sounds like Keegan probably will not play this weekend. Hasn't practiced yet this week. Now, that was Tuesday, so we're recording this Wednesday night for Thursday, so maybe he will be back before the end of the week. But, it's just kind of like what Kirk described, a nagging injury. And I kind of first guessed this before the season started. It was something that obviously I was hoping I was going to be wrong on. But hamstring injury, it just kind of sounded like, dude's not going to play every single game. He might play a game, then not play a game, then, he might play 2 games, and then off another one. And we've already kind of started seeing that happen already this year, early in the season. Hadn't played the first 2 weeks, and then, obviously plays last week and then doesn't play. So it sucks. It really does. But I think overall, took deep shots. I mentioned that on the episode last, it was good to see us taking some deep shots. I tweet at John Miller, with the whole, maybe running out of shotgun a little bit more, kind of spread teams out, because I just think with our offensive line being kind of so up and down, I formation, you're inviting 8, 9, 10 guys in the box. It's like spread teams out. And we did that, a couple times, and we did run it pretty successfully on Saturday. So overall, good game. And we just got to, hopefully we can move that into the Rutgers game.
Yeah, albeit against Nevada. I mean, obviously you're not playing a very good opponent, but you found things that you finally got, the offense to get a little bit of a kickstart, right? After the first 2 weeks of not doing much at all. So hopefully you learn from that and take some of that and bring it into that Rutgers game. Maybe, like you said, run a little bit more out of shotgun, spread it out. And then obviously take your shots when they're there as well. So hopefully that continues a little bit in the Iowa Rutgers game this week. So.
Yeah. And going back to Keegan too, I know you mentioned, you asked me yesterday why did he end up playing the Nevada game? If, maybe he's, having this nagging injury. And, it's one of those things where I just think, he was good to go for Saturday. I just think, needs to get those game reps in. And I think it kind of showed that on Saturday. He didn't, I think 2 catches for 11 yards or something like that, but he dropped some balls too. So he looked a little rusty. And so you need that game action.
Yeah.
You can't just insert him into a big game. Cause it's easy to say well, let's just hold him off until the Michigan game. Well, yeah, I mean, you can do that and, he should be ready to go, but is he going to be ready?
He's not game ready.
Be ready to go. Yeah.
Right.
Game ready.
Right.
And so I can see why he played the Nevada game. It just kind of sucks that he got up, I think halfway through the game or whenever it was, got up limping and, he didn't play the rest of the game. So that kind of sucks. Some other injury related news. Noah Shannon, questionable, hoping by middle of the week, he'll be ready to go is what Kirk Ferentz said in terms of practicing. Justin Jacobs, same thing as Noah Shannon. I know you overheard Justin at the Iowa State game said something along those lines. Wasn't it the Nevada game?
Yeah, he was hoping to be back in a week or two. Is kind of what he was telling, I think, somebody that he knew, or just a fan asked him. I don't know if he knew him or not, but they asked him when he'll be back, and he said like a week or two. So this would be the second week if we were to see that, hopefully.
And so hopefully those 2 guys are back, because once again, our defense and it seems like even like the last episode that I did by myself, I don't talk much about the defense, but because there's really not much to talk about, because they're that good.
There is a lot to talk about because they're so good, but it's almost, if you're an Iowa fan, this is an Iowa podcast, and if you've seen Iowa play at all, you know how good we are, what we do, and so we don't spend a ton of time on
time talking about it. Exactly.
Right.
So, like the Nevada game, because Noah Shannon, I think, got hurt like right away. You got that guy out and Justin Jacobs, and we still, and I get it, it's Nevada, they're not a good football team, but we still hold them to 0 points with 2 guys that are quote unquote starters and are good. I shouldn't even say quote unquote, they are starters. So getting them back, hopefully, especially against the Rutgers team, which we'll talk about. They're not a very good offensive team, but what they do decently well at is running the football. And so having those 2 guys would be huge for us. But yeah, defensively, I mean, I guess the only thing I will say is how much of a stud Cooper DeJean is. A playmaker, so much fun to watch. And I think for me, it's continue. Or what were you gonna say?
Real quick, I was just gonna say, I think we called it. Early in the season, we said he's. I think he's gonna start. I think he's gonna play. He's gonna play a lot, and he has taken the bull by the horns and has flourished in this defensive scheme. And a lot of people, he's starting to get that national attention now. But I think obviously he's from a local area, kind of where we're from. So we've heard about him, we've known about him for a long time, and we've mentioned him on this podcast, which seems like almost every episode leading up to the season too. And he really is. He's a stud, and I'm glad to see he's getting a lot of national attention too.
Well, so that's what I was gonna say. What I think for me, because like he is kind of from our area, from our hometown. He's like 30 minutes. I mean, I think OABCIG is about 35 minutes or maybe 40 minutes away from Carroll, which that's where we're from. We don't live there now anymore, but that's where we're from. And so it kind of has that kind of home field or the home grown type of feeling to that. And I think that's just kind of like, for me, it's just so cool to see. And I obviously root for him and then obviously how good he's doing. I think I saw something where Pro Football Focus has him as like the 10th best corner in the country in terms of corners, out of like 700 some. So I mean, that's pretty wild. Good. And once again, like the Pro Football Focus isn't like sometimes some of the stuff that they put out, it's like, okay, but they are like a grading system, and they do. I mean, so they take a variety of different analytics, different things like that. So to be a top 10 corner, according to them, is a pretty big deal. So defensively though, as a redshirt freshman,
Richard.
Yep. Definitely a guy that he's someone was asking me before the season, was like, he should be playing offense. And I mean, it'd be sweet if he played offense for us, because I think he'd be a playmaker, but his best chance to go to the NFL is defense. And I think we're already starting to see that 3 weeks into the season. So
100%.
All right, let's get into the Iowa Rutgers game. Safe to say the last episode we recorded just before, we were like probably 25 minutes in before we even started talking about the Iowa Rutgers game. So we are definitely speeding this up.
Yeah.
Because we don't like talk. I mean, we like talking, but not, for hours on end. So
Right.
let's get into it. Iowa is 7-3 in the last 10 league openers. The last time they actually played at Rutgers was the league opener conference play in 2016. We won 14-7. Could be a similar score this week. I think the over-under is set at, you said 34?
I last looked.
Did it go down to 34?
I think it was 34.
It was like 35 at some
At least
point.
the betting site that I got it off of is 34.
Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, so the last time we played there, 14-7 win. That was, I still remember that game. It was a very, boring game.
Brutal watch.
Yeah. And I think it was that 11 a.m. like Beth Mowins game. I'm pretty sure.
Shout out Beth Mullins.
This stat is just unbelievable. Rutgers is seeking to end a 19-game losing streak at home in Big Ten play. Their last game,
crazy.
Their last win was in 2017 in November against Maryland. Like, how do you? I just can't even imagine. Now, I get it; they don't have a home field advantage, but to say, I mean, how do you not win? I mean, 19 games. I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, that's hard to. I mean, that's hard to build like a kind of like a culture, right? Like for a football team, like when you don't have that fan support, home field advantage, like you talked about. I mean, hopefully that's a good sign for Iowa, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hopefully that trend continues and it's a 20-game losing streak.
Right.
So Rutgers right now, just a little bit about them. They are 3-0 with road wins at Boston College and Temple. And then they have a home victory versus Wagner, a team I've never heard of. And like BC, I remember week 1, it was probably after that game, we were checking scores. Like, oh my God, Rutgers, beat Boston College on the road. And we thought that was like, holy cow. I think it's safe to say Boston College isn't that good of a football team. So it's just hard to kind of know where Rutgers is really at. I mean, looking at like team stat rankings, they're allowing just 14 points a game and 240 yards per game on defense. Offensively, they're similar to Iowa. They're actually 13th in total offense, so they're one step ahead of us. But this is what's crazy. They're averaging like over 100 more yards a game than us, and they're just right ahead of us. So it just kind of shows the gap between Iowa's offense and the rest of the league and the rest of the country. Just crazy.
Yeah, it's surprising, but it's not if you've watched Iowa. But that is a great sort of, it puts it into perspective how bad we've been through 3 weeks now. So
exactly.
Yeah.
In terms of quarterback play for Rutgers, I wouldn't really say it's a quarterback competition. It's just more some guys are hurt. So going into the season, it was Gavin Wimsatt. He was going to be the guy. They raved about him. I remember reading a couple different magazines, and once again, it was just this guy's going to be really good for us. But he did get hurt. He started the first 2 games, but then got hurt. He's a game time decision against Iowa. I'm sure if he's ready to go, he will play. He will start. Last week, Evan Simon started because once again, Gavin was hurt. And then the other quarterback that they have, which is a Nebraska transfer, Noah Vedral, he hasn't played yet this season, else he probably would have started last week, but he's also hurt as well. And he's also a game time decision against Iowa. So Iowa going into this week, Kirk Ferentz talked about it. They obviously are preparing for all 3 because it could be literally all 3 of them or one of the 3 will be playing. So passing attack for them, not great. And how can it be when you're inserting different quarterbacks? Passing attack, not all that great, but their running attack is not bad. They have 2 really good running backs that are, averaging combined close to over 100 yards a game. And then against the rush on defense, they are second nationally, which doesn't really bode well for Iowa because we are not that good of a running team. Now, we looked a little bit better against Nevada, but we still have a lot of work to do. So they're allowing just 32.2 yards per game, which once again, is one of those things where it's like, okay, who have they played though? So it's just hard to really grasp a good feel of like if those team stat rankings are legit or not. Usually once you get into like the middle of the season, it's a lot easier to kind of really tell if like, how good a team is offensively, how good of a team is defensively. Right now it's just so hard because it just really all depends on who you're all playing. Like, for example, like Michigan, I think they're a really good football team, But like, I'm really excited to watch their game against Maryland. I think it's a big noon kickoff because I'm anxious to see like how good actually are they, because their first 3 games have been against terrible teams. I mean, they had the easiest non-conference schedule. So I still think they're going to easily beat Maryland, or they should. But I'm just curious to see like,
are they really a 50 point a game type of offense? Right. Like, and Maryland, maybe doesn't have the greatest defense, but you're playing better Division I talent, right, on both sides of the ball. So
exactly.
Even their defense, they'll be tested a little bit this next week, obviously, and like all teams going into conference play. So, but yeah, I agree. The one thing I'll say that I mentioned this on the episode before it got deleted. The one thing I will say, the nice thing about being Iowa fans and knowing Iowa football is I think we know how good our defense is, right? This isn't just a 1 year. This isn't just 3 games. All of a sudden our defense is like this. This has been a trend now for many years. Yep. So I've got great confidence that this is going to be a very, very good defense throughout the year and special teams.
For sure. So how do you see this game playing out, and your final prediction for this weekend?
Yeah, I see, like everybody's been saying, if you've checked on Twitter, if you check social media, it's been a lot of, it's going to be a very low scoring game. I think I'd be surprised if it gets into the 20s for either team. Really, I think that'd be a really good day on offense for either team. So the way, like I mentioned, Iowa's defense and special teams has been playing. Torrey Taylor combined with our defense, is gonna make Rutgers have to go the length of the field quite a bit, I think, and then hopefully our defense is opportunistic a time or two, and we can get a short field and get some points out of it. I see Iowa winning 17-10. Now, obviously, with that combined score, it's the under. I've got the under. Little preview to the wager winners here coming up, but I just can't see it any other way. I think Rutgers punter Adam Korsak, I think his name is, or something. He's like another really, really good punter, not only for the Big Ten, but for the country. So you're going to see a lot of combined punts, I think, in this game.
Yeah, I think points are going to be a premium in this game. I think it really is going to come down to what team can have a drive where they go down the field. I'm not talking like you're starting in plus territory from an interception or a fumble. I'm talking like you're starting at the 25-yard line and you're going 75 yards. Yeah. Make it like kind of like what Iowa State did against Iowa. I think whatever team can have a drive like that, I think is on the verge of winning that game. Because like I said, I just think points are going to be premium when both defenses are pretty good. Both offenses are not very good. You have 2 really good punters that are probably going to pin. Torrey's going to pin them in the probably the 10-yard line, and their punters are going to pin us, on the 10-yard line. So points are it's going to be hard to come by. However, I have Iowa winning 19-13. So I have like 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. I think that it sounds unrealistic, but that should be realistic. Like that's what we should be able to do. And then for Rutgers' sake, like I'm giving them a touchdown and a couple field goals. Hopefully it's like Nevada, and hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully we pitch a shutout. I mean, that'd be great. Hopefully we pitch a shutout the entire year. It's just not going to happen. But 19-13, I still have Rutgers covering the spread, but I just think, you just got to take care of business. Maryland game last year was the first game. Well, no, I guess the Iowa State game was the first road game, but it was the first conference road game last year. And, it was an area where we're not really familiar with. We don't really play at Maryland very often. And we go in Friday night game, very nervous. I think both of you, I don't know. We'd have to go back and look at the predictions, but did we even have Iowa? I mean, did we even have Iowa win? Maybe we did. I don't know.
I can't remember. I know we were really nervous for that game.
And what do? We go in and we just take care of business. And, it sets up then, I don't know if you remember, but after the Maryland game last year, set up that big game against Penn State. And so if we can go into, Rutgers and, just take care of business, I'm not saying a 50-point game like the Maryland game, but really look decent on all 3 phases. I think it's going to make next week's game, Michigan, going into that week way better than if we, number one, lose, but, also look like shit. So, big game though. I mean, the Iowa State game, obviously would love to win that game. do anything to win that game. But at the end of the day, the season really starts now, because if your dreams of going, or your goals of going to Indy, the Iowa State game, that doesn't do anything for that. It's this weekend. This is the weekend that starts. And so you don't want to start 0-1 in conference play. It's just not good. And I will say this too. I know we're not, we got a lot of things to figure out, but the Big Ten West is wide open. I mean, last week, Nebraska, I mean, they're done. I mean, they're done for the season. I mean, you got Purdue, who, they're already 0-1 in conference play. They lose at Syracuse. Northwestern, what the hell is going on there? Wisconsin's lost at Washington State, and they're probably going to lose this weekend at Ohio State. Minnesota's probably the best team. They have a really tough game this weekend on the road at Michigan State. So, the Big Ten West is wide open. So, but at the same time, though, you got to take care of business as well. So, starting 0-1 is not going to help that cause. So
this is one of Iowa's easier games in the conference, right? And the conference play on the schedule. You got to get this win. Obviously you got to go into this game. You got to play clean football on the offense. I think something we maybe didn't talk about is we just can't turn the ball over on the road. If we start doing that, it's really going to set us up for a disaster, I think, at Rutgers. So if we play clean football, we play solid defense and special teams, I think we can come away with a victory. But I agree. This is a very gettable game. Got to have it. And not only for this game, but even like you said, for next week, setting up a big matchup, noon kickoff, Iowa, Michigan. So
yeah. I mean, I think every game that's something where it's like, okay, if we can get, no turnovers, but we can force some turnovers. Every game you could say that. And it's so true. I mean, if we can go in there, like you said, no turnovers, which that's hard to do on the road, but if we can do that, but then maybe get, a couple interceptions, or maybe one interception and a fumble, or hell, like the Iowa State game, block punt. I mean, whatever the case may be, if you can win that battle, then you have a really good chance, because at the end of the day, Rutgers is a very beatable team. It's not like we're going into some powerhouse. Like, they're very beatable, but you also, you got to play really good too. Every game
you can't overlook them. No, you're not going to overlook them, because if you do that, you'll get beat. That's how Big Ten play works. So, but no, I agree. You got to go in with the right mindset, and hopefully come out on Saturday with a nice little victory.
6:30 that night. I'm excited. Night game. I'm excited for my first weekend of being home for college football.
Oh my gosh. Same.
Because the first 3 weeks, you had the wedding last week, and then the first 2 weeks were Iowa. For me, it's been the last 3 weeks for Iowa, which I'm not complaining. I love going to Iowa State, love going to Iowa home games.
Well, and week 0, I was in Lincoln to see you.
Yep, so week 0.
It's been over a month for me now.
I'm really excited to just be able to wake up Saturday morning and watch college football, especially with my new setup.
Yeah, that is sweet.
So I decided to mount my TV. So I have my big 65-inch TV, and then I have my smaller, it's still a decently sized TV, but it's a smaller TV right underneath it. And so it's perfect for college football Saturdays or NFL Sundays, where I can watch 2 games at once. So I'm really, really excited. And then, the Iowa game, night game, kind of have all day to kind of prepare for it. I love that. Not very often do we have road games at night, it seems like, where, I know last year the Maryland game was Friday night. Yeah. But I'm talking a Saturday where, you have all day watching other games and getting pumped up for the Iowa game. So really
usually it's the 11 o'clock or
11 o'clock
always
game,
that afternoon. Yeah.
And it's either you win or, you lose, and it's God, your rest of your day sucks. If you win, I guess it's good.
That's the one, I was gonna say, that's the one positive. If we end up losing, well, we enjoyed it up to that point.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get in the mailbag. Once again, you can fire in those DMs on Twitter, YouTube, whatever the case may be. Really did not think we were going to get many when we started this segment up a couple weeks ago, but I'm glad we did, because we actually got a few, and it's kind of fun to really dive deep into some of these questions. So, let's get right into it. Brad, do you think Caleb Johnson's game on Saturday was just a one-game wonder, or do you think he will consistently put up good numbers through the rest of the season? Man, that's tough, because once again, Nevada, they're not a good football team, but at the same time, that first run that Caleb Johnson had, he should have only got 10 yards, but he literally just trucked that guy. And his speed, his just balance, his power, he's the real deal. He's a special guy, and I think he's going to have a really good year. Now, once again, as every game he's going to be putting up those numbers, probably not. He might have a game here or there, but he's definitely going to contribute. I think every game, like that Nevada game was huge probably for him, confidence level as a freshman. You got to build that confidence. So I'm hoping he can continue, because that's big time for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, right? The more comfortable he gets, the more snaps he gets. I think you're gonna see his numbers, maybe not similar to last week, but he'll put up good numbers. At the end of the season, it might not amount to a whole lot, but at the end of the day, you can tell he's the next great Iowa running back. I think.
Yeah,
will be the next really good one. So I think maybe, obviously we've got some good defenses that we're going to be up against and things like that. And our offensive line isn't great. So there's a ton of factors, like you mentioned, we played Nevada, but I think just with the increased role, just naturally he'll be able to put up better numbers. So,
yeah, I love that first touchdown that he had. I love that play call, shotgun, Arlen Bruce in motion, where, I don't know if it was a run pass option, but it was one of those things where, like, if Petrus really wanted to keep the ball and then throw it to Arlen, I just love that play.
Yeah, you're trying to get the linebacker to flow with the wide receiver, and it opens it up a little bit more in the middle for a guy like Caleb Johnson, and he makes a great move and gets in the end zone. So great play.
We'll see how much he does play too, because LaShawn Williams is back. He was obviously out last week with his dad's funeral, which is once again just super sad, and wish all the best to him. But yeah, he sounds like he's back. Ferentz, or someone asked Ferentz that yesterday, and he's back with the team. And so, like, and then obviously Gavin Williams, he was kind of hurt at the beginning of the year, but he's getting, healthier. So we got some good running backs, and that's what's good. We just have to be able to have an offensive line to block for them. So, Austin, grade the following positions: running back, receiver, O-line, D-line, secondary, and special teams. So I guess you don't want us to grade quarterbacks, which you guys probably already
why not
know the answer.
Oh,
but let's see here. Running backs. Well, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say why not? I could give Spencer a real good grade. Do you want me to?
like what? No, I'm just kidding.
D-.
Now the Nevada game, I would give him a little bit better, but the first two, definitely an F. So running backs, I'm gonna say, and you might not agree with me, but I'm going to say like an A-, because they've been able to actually, like the first game, blocking was terrible. LaShawn Williams still put up like 74 yards because he made guys miss. He would get something out of nothing. And so I'm going to give them an A-, because I think all three are good running backs. It's just we've been kind of unfortunate with the whole blocking schemes and guys loading 8, 9, 10 guys in the box. I mean, what do you expect? And so they're at least being able to do something out of nothing. So I'm going to give them an A- ish.
Okay. Yeah, I would say A-, B+, right around there too. It's hard to judge, right, from an offensive line that didn't do a great job of run blocking. Just the fact that they were able to get positive yards half the time when there was defenders in the backfield before they got the handoff is pretty impressive. So
receiver, this is going to surprise you a little bit. I think once we, with Nico emerging back and Keegan, maybe, it might be a little bit different, but for right now, I'm going to say like a D+. I just think that, like, we still, guys are dropping balls sometimes. We look a little rusty. Guys aren't getting separation. I think Arlen Bruce is obviously our best receiver, but even, him, drop a few balls here or there. Now, it doesn't help when you don't have a quarterback that, necessarily throws the best balls.
Right.
I think this number will get better as the year goes on, as we get healthier. But for right now, just judging out of like 3 games, really like 2, because like I said, the Nevada game, like they did look a lot better. So, but the other 2, not so much. So right now, like a D+.
Yeah. And this is, this was kind of tough. I'm going with a C. Wide receiver is a dependent position. I put a lot of blame on Spencer. I think, he's got to be able to deliver the ball, and he's shown time and time again that he isn't able to do that. But at the same time, injury as well, in and out of the lineup for a lot of guys like that. We haven't gotten our full healthy roster, and I don't know if we will, like we talk about with Keegan throughout the season. But But you're right. I mean, they've got to own some of it too. And then there's been drop balls. There's been, miscommunications with Spencer and stuff like that. So I give it a C. It was kind of hard to grade, but yeah.
Offensive line, I would say like a C minus, because there are times where they look decent, but then there are times where they look really bad. And so like a C minus, it's, C's get degrees. So, I mean, it's average.
It's good enough.
But it definitely needs a lot of work.
Yep. C minus as well.
D line, I'm going to give like an A minus. I mean, they're doing exactly what you need to do. Now there's been a couple circumstances where we've let, teams get, a 10-yard carry or something like that. And, we might not, get a good, pass rush, but I think overall, big picture, they're a really good reason why our defense is off to a really hot start. So I'm going to give like an A minus.
Yeah, A minus A, honestly. Like, I think that they do a really good job. Our defense as a whole, it's hard to, single, a certain unit out, I think, because I think they all just complement each other. But maybe, and you're right, maybe the pass rush isn't always there, but yeah, I'd probably go A minus as well.
Secondary, I mean, hate saying it, but like probably an A plus. I mean, there's really not, there's really nothing I can think of so far that's like, wow, I think everything has been great. I mean, once again, like the Iowa State game, Xavier Hutchinson, I mean, he's probably one of the best receivers we're going to face all year. And, he did have a touchdown. He did have a couple good catches, but for the most part, we shut him down. And it's just been one of those things where it's just like secondary really hasn't given up anything. Now the South Dakota State game, we almost gave up a long ball. So minus that, but I just think, I mean, you got to give them as of right now, like an A plus.
Yeah, A plus. They've done a fantastic job for the circumstances. As much as the whole defense, as much as they've all been out on the field these first 3 weeks compared to what our offensive production has been and the amount of times that they've been out there, it's really, really impressive what they're doing right now. So A plus. Yeah, nothing bad to say.
Special teams. Now this is going to surprise you because like you would think that I would give it a higher number. I'm going to give like a B for right now. And the only reason it's not, obviously punting is like an A plus, but outside punting, we're still having some inconsistencies, kicking the football, field goal kicking, kickoff returns, punt returns. I mean, like last year, I mean, that's one of the sole reasons why we went 10-2 is because Charlie Jones would, get a kick return or, set us up with a 20-yard punt return or a 30-yard punt return. I mean, you go back to the Illinois game, we were down 10-0. And I feel like the only reason why we got back in that game is because Charlie Jones had that kickoff return. And so far there really hasn't been much in that aspect. So right now I'd give it like a B. But yeah, like punting, obviously an A plus, but I think just overall special teams probably a B.
Yeah, I was just going to go B plus, pretty similar to you. I think Torrey Taylor's an amazing punter. He's able to flip the field. He's kind of an offensive weapon. That's weird to say for this team. So I grade him like to the highest degree. And then, I think hopefully, we get the kicking situation figured out. Who do you think it is going to be the backup now? Drew Stevens, whatever his name is?
I think so. Yeah.
Drew, after last week. So I think hopefully him, and then, return game still iffy. I thought maybe we both thought maybe, it hasn't been great so far, but, we don't have a lot of stud athletes to put out there right now. A lot of them are, Darwin Bruce. Yeah, I didn't even know if he was going to be the guy this year, but I guess he is. So,
yeah, and actually now they have. I
mean, Cooper, Johnson. I thought Cooper would, but I mean, he was back there, but he hasn't really returned any.
Last game, our Nevada game, I think they had Caleb Johnson actually back there on kickoff returns. Now,
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. All right, James, if you could pick a road game to go to as an Iowa fan, what would it be and why, and how many have you been to? So
good question.
Yeah, it is. I would say my two, which may surprise you, Tyler. I'm going to say the Shoe in Columbus. I would love to go to just because it's just be cool. Plus like Columbus, sweet town, like visit, or night game at Penn State. Now it has to be a night game because game during the day, I mean, it'd still be fun, but like a night game whiteout would be cool. So those two places.
Yeah, I think if we're strictly talking Big Ten, obviously, I'm assuming that's what the question
that's what I'm
meant.
talking.
Okay.
Big Ten,
Yeah.
or that's what
So,
I'm guessing.
yeah. So I would say for me, it'd probably be the Big House.
Big House, yeah.
Michigan. I think there's, it's like a shit ton of fans, well over 100,000 night, even if it was a night game. But even last year, I'm honestly thinking about just like, and now you can't predict this, but Ohio State at Michigan, right? Like that scene, that was a great scene. And
Yeah,
obviously the snow had a lot to do with it, but I'm just talking in general. I think the Big House would probably be the one that I would for sure want to. And then it would probably be the shoe. Yeah.
And then how many have you been to? Like, this is actually surprising. I've actually only been to like 1.5. I've been to the Nebraska, Iowa game. And then if you want to count the Minnesota game, this was back when it was at the Metrodome. Now I've been to the new Minnesota stadium, but it was when the Vikings were playing there when their new stadium was getting built. So I went to the Vikings-Packers game, but I have not been to an Iowa-Minnesota game in their new stadium. But other than that, like I haven't been to
I have not been to an away game.
Yeah,
I have not been to an away game.
It's something that I really want to.
We've talked about it. Yeah.
As we get older,
as
we get older, I mean, we are, but like, as we get older in life, would love to start going to maybe one a year and just try to hit up all of them some point.
Hit them all up. Yep.
Because I think there's a couple that I really want to go to, like the Wisconsin Iowa game would be fun to go to Madison.
Yeah.
Northwestern would be fun just because go to Chicago for a weekend. Obviously, yeah, like Michigan, Ohio State, Maryland, even, it's by the DC area. Rutgers, I mean, hell, Rutgers would be kind of fun, close to New York. Some ones that I would have no interest in really going to is like Michigan State. It's just Eastland.
Northwestern.
Well, Northwestern. I just mentioned Northwestern. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because of being in Chicago.
Okay.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Like the stadium aspect of it would be like, yeah. No, but like in terms of like you can make a good weekend out of that going to like Chicago.
You could.
But yeah, it's something I really want to obviously do as get growth go on through life is start going to one or maybe two a year. It just sucks because going to home games, once it gets to the week of having an off, an away game, it's so nice to be able to just be like, get a weekend off of not having to drive to Iowa City. So, where are we at here? Alexander,
okay. I was just say I could read a couple off too if you wanted.
Do you think we will start seeing more deep shots like we saw against Nevada? I don't know. I just hope we do. I mean, it's something that you got to do to spread teams out, keep defenses honest, keep, defenses on their feet a little bit. Like the Rutgers game, if you told me that, we're going to take 4 deep shots or 5, I would say we should connect on at least 1, maybe get a pass interference here or there. It's just something you need to do. And it's the only way the run game's going to get going, because I think if you start doing that more often, like I said, teams can't just load the box and crash and all that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know though. It's Brian Ferentz, it's Kirk Ferentz. So who knows?
There it is.
I mean, it is.
I think the question needs to be, do you hope that we do? Right. I think we would both answer yes in a heartbeat.
Yes.
The question is, will we? They have got their own sort of plan, I guess, and it changes, I think, week to week. I really don't know. I think maybe that we did in that Nevada game. Hopefully we saw this, a little bit of success that we thought we had with it. Hopefully that translates and continues throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. We got Brock. This is more of a fun question. Why don't we ever wear black pants on the road? We do sometimes for home games, for the all black, but I think black helmet, white jerseys, black pants would look good. I 100% agree. I think that would be really cool. I think it's safe to say that under Ferentz, we're never going to be a team that just has a bunch of alternates. But yeah, I wish we at least kept it simple and just wear black pants. I mean, you can keep your white jersey, you can keep your black helmet, just put on black pants. Kind of like what we do one game a year where we wear black pants at home. I think it would look slick. I think all white would look cool too. Like white jerseys, white uniforms, even if you keep the black helmet.
There's
that would look good.
No going wrong with an all white.
Yeah.
I mean, just to say it, obviously the Vikings got their asses kicked this last weekend, but they wore all whites with their purple helmets, and that looked dope. Yeah. And I just think all white you can never go wrong with. And I just wish, even like Iowa, they could do a sweet white helmet They never will, but that would be cool. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I would love for us to have a bunch of different types of, a gold and then, one that has like a Iowa script, like
kind of like what Minnesota does with their different alternate uniforms too. Like
yeah,
they
exactly.
Cool shit. I know.
Yeah. But even if you just want to keep it simple, like wearing, like Brock said, why don't we wear? I mean, that
even that
that
I
would
agree.
Be cool.
I know it. That would be sweet.
All right, and last one, Joel. Are you guys still off the Spencer Petrus bandwagon, or did last week's small improvement offense change that? No, I'm not. Just because we played Nevada, I want to actually see it against a decent team, and I want to see it consistently. I don't want to see it one game and then off a couple games and then on. No, I want to see it consistently. And so if you can tell me goes a few games consistently looking decent, then maybe I will get on his bandwagon a little bit. But I think that ship has sailed. I just think that even if I just think you just keep thinking back in your mind, like all the games.
We know what he is.
Yeah. So
he's had plenty of time to prove that. And in my opinion, it would take him winning a Big Ten championship to get on his bandwagon. And I'm sorry, but you're right. To put it mildly and to be nice, he did it against Nevada. Got to do it against a Big Ten opponent. Let's see that first. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
So that is the mailbag for this week. Once again, fire in those DMs, get your question answered. And like I said, always fun to do that. So let's get into the wager winners. Tyler, man, you had a great week last week, 4-1.
There we go.
And now you are, and I went 2-3. So you are now overall in 3 weeks of action, 8-6-1, which that's good. You're over 50%. So you're making some
technically
money.
I'm doing some making money. Yep.
And then I am 7-8. I started off decent, and the last 2 weeks not so hot. So let's get into her. You can go first.
All right, real quick. We'll make it short and sweet here. I got Virginia at Syracuse. Syracuse, I'm taking the points -9. I just think Syracuse right now, they're a little bit of a surprising team. I for sure thought, they were talking last year. I know their head coach was literally on the hot seat, and now they're 3-0 to start the season. So I've got them at home -9. I'm gonna go Kent State at Georgia -45. That makes me nervous. Huge number,
crazy. But
my God, Georgia is they have covered. I mean, and now their offense is starting to actually look legit with Stetson Bennett throwing the football. 45 doesn't seem like a horrible number, so I'm going to take it. Duke at Kansas. I've got Kansas. My God, saying Kansas -7.5 at home. Battle of the undefeateds, really, right now. Kansas is actually not a bad team. For the Big 12, they actually have a decent offense. And yeah, I'm going to take them at home. Tulsa at Ole Miss, kind of a big number again, -21.5. But Ole Miss is played really good football. Their defense is one of the tops, I think, in the nation right now. Again, who have they played? Probably not a lot of great teams, but they're a team that can put up points. So I like them at home. And then Iowa at Rutgers. I previewed it. When we were talking about the game itself. I'm going under 34. I just don't see how we get over that number. I think it's a very low scoring affair. I think, I predicted 17-10, that's 27 points. That's insane to even say that. But yeah, this number, this 34 is not shocking. I'm going to take the under, and until we hit the over, I'm going to keep betting the under. I think.
Yep. Exactly. That's
the way I got to do it, right?
Smart to do.
Yeah. What do you got?
So I got West Virginia at Virginia. So I actually have 2 games for Thursday night action. So we're going to see how I do already. You guys are listening to this on Thursday or possibly Friday, so you might already know. But West Virginia at Virginia Tech. I'm taking Virginia Tech +1.5. So this game, 35% of the bets are on Virginia Tech, but 58% of the money is on them. So they're getting way less bets, but the money is they're getting way more money. So that just kind of shows you that professional bettors are betting the Virginia Tech. I like them at home. That's just a really tough place to play, especially at night. It's technically, they're not in the same state, but it's a rivalry game. I mean, they're both, right next, they're like next door neighbors. And so I like them in that position. Coastal Carolina at Georgia State +2. I am solely taking this because this is crazy. Only 29% of the bets are going in for Georgia State. It's 29%. So pretty much that's telling you the public is betting Coastal Carolina a shit ton. But 85% of the money is on Georgia State, which is just an absurd number. So 70% is on Coastal Carolina, but 85% of the total money is on Georgia State. So that just tells you that the Sharps are betting Georgia State tomorrow night. So I am going to ride with the Sharps, and I'm going to take Georgia State +2. Baylor at Iowa State. I like Iowa State. I think Iowa State's a good football team, and they're at home.
I do too.
Cover 2.5. That I think that should
be a home field advantage right there, right?
Yep,
like that's what they're saying. So I agree. I think that they can get a win at home by 3. I think so.
Yep. Miami of Ohio at Northwestern. Northwestern -7. I think this number is a little inflated due to the fact that Northwestern has looked god awful the last 2 weeks, and they did beat Nebraska. That was terrible. But Miami of Ohio is really not a good football team, yet the number is only -7. So I am hoping that Pat Fitzgerald can figure something out and actually win at home against not a very good football team by more than 7 points. Come on, Northwestern, you can do it. You can do it. Also with that game too, and the public is actually betting more Miami of Ohio. I think I don't know what it is, but Northwestern is getting only 42% of the bets, but they are getting 69% of the money. So once again, that's kind of showing you that Sharps are betting Northwestern. And then I am taking Rutgers +7.5. I'm hoping I'm dead wrong. I don't care what my record is. I'm hoping I am dead wrong on this prediction. But I'm taking them just because with our offense can't score, and it's going to be a close game regardless. And so whether we lose or not, but it's going to be close. And so I got to take 7.5. I mean, that's a lot of points. I mean, I get it. Vegas knows what they're doing. But I was very surprised by this number just because of how bad our offense is. I mean, you're saying that we are a touchdown and touchdown point favorite. It's just crazy.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's I usually do not bet against my team because why would I? But this is a game where it's like I might actually have to maybe bet this game because it's just it's a lot of points. And then if I lose it, it's
then you're wrong. Then great, you're wrong. It's a kind of a win-win, really.
Exactly. So that is it for wager winners. Week 4. Let's go 5-0. Both of us.
Another great week. Yeah. We were close. I was close last week. Let's keep the train rolling.
I should just start doing. I mean, I've been in real life. I've been actually betting pretty good in NFL so far. Knock on wood. It continues. Seems like NFL is just so much easier than college because college is just every game. It's just different. It's just a different story.
Yeah.
So for example, I was going to maybe bet the Michigan State Minnesota game because it's Michigan State at home +3. And I get that because obviously Minnesota's looking really good. Michigan State's just got their asses kicked against Washington on the road.
Yeah.
But it's Minnesota, everyone thinks that, Minnesota should easily go in there and win. They're clearly the better team, but then you just watch as Michigan State beats them. So it's just just so hard. It is so
tough.
hard to know with some of these teams. So.
It's not as clear as the NFL, I feel like.
No, it definitely isn't. So yeah. All right. Well, that is it for this episode. We did it. It actually still was a decently long episode. Since we
episode 2,
recorded
part 2
tonight. Man, I can't do that first one. That one would have been a really long episode. Thinking
it would have been well over an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we hadn't even got to the mailbag yet, and we were 45 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
So
it was a long episode.
Yeah.
I think we did a good job of recapping what we had said in the first episode before it got deleted, and then as well as continue to talk about what we wanted. So
yeah, exactly. So all right, that will do it for tonight. Hopefully Iowa gets a dub, and we'll be back. Well, if it was an earlier game, we could do a very instant reaction Saturday,
right?
But night game. So we'll be back Sunday from Monday or Sunday. I guess I always just bring it out on Sunday after.
So we might get it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a reaction pod, and hopefully it's a positive, and we're looking ahead to Michigan, and we won this weekend. Let's just hope for the best.
That's right, man. That's right. So, go Hawks.
Yeah. Go Hawks. Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you guys soon.